sort of literally just arrived myself, so forgive me if it's already set up. As introduced, we're from Soniqplay. Soniqplay recently, we're just about to announce rebranding from a company we set up about 2 years ago called Bauer Media. So we decided it was time to change name to something that reflected what we actually did. So just a little bit about Soniqplay, who we are, what we do, where we're targeting, why we've got a slightly different take on things. So what we do is basically everything around interactive audio. So very much lean forward experiences, not lean back experiences. So creating audio and music, a lot of it around licensed content rather than unlicensed content. Our main target audiences are basically brands and media owners. So for brands, every brand you talk to is trying to engage people through music and engage people and make them into content creators. And for media owners, obviously they have large audiences pre-existing and they're looking for new revenue streams to both, new ways of deriving revenues, but also engaging consumers around their brands and so on as well. So that's really the market we're going after. If I'm trying to sort of encapsulate what we do in a sentence, really what we're trying to do is to turn consumers into content creators. So this isn't you know, a super technical market we're after. This is very much the man in the street trying to take sometimes quite complex propositions around content creation and make them very accessible to everyone. So it's trying to turn everyone into content creators. So I'll talk about the platform a little bit, but just to bring it to life, to articulate it, one of the things I wanted to show you first is an application we just launched recently in conjunction with KISS in the UK. So KISS, big urban and dance radio station, it has about 4.1 million listeners a day. What we have put together with them is a remixing application that allows you to remix in a very simple, accessible way, initially just on BlackBerry, but we're looking at iOS. I'm going to show you an iOS beta shortly, which allows people to deconstruct and reconstruct music that's currently playlisted on KISS. So we've gone through lots and lots of rights issues, worked with a lot of labels, music publishers, collection societies and so on to actually get everyone comfortable with the idea of that. And that was quite a journey in its own right. But the deliverable from that is something that we think is sustainable, it's really accessible, and it's driving, from a record label point of view, it's driving a completely new revenue stream from existing digital assets. So effectively monetizing the multi-tracks or the stems that currently aren't really being monetized at all in a sort of consistent way. So I'll just show you a quick video demo of the beta version of this.
Chokers like our necks in the noose. Avoid the obvious, we should be facing the truth. Start to think it could be feeling now. Kind of shocked because I never really had any doubts. Look into your eyes, imagine life without you. Starts again. And the love kicks starts again. And the love kick starts again.
So what we're doing there is basically creating a way of getting people creating around, in this case, licensed music, and then sharing it with friends. So the whole idea is you can take something, you can buy it as a new, obviously revenue stream to the labels, but it's done within an in-app store. You're constantly reminded of it because there's constant on-air promotion as well. So we've got, as new content is coming out, new content's made available within the app for purchase, and then we're looking to run a bunch of different promotion dynamics as well. So actually creating content within the app, sending it in not only to your friends, and you can listen to streams, encouraging a voting dynamic where you can share and vote and comment, but also potentially into a broadcast queue, so you can have like user-generated winning mixes actually played on radio. So it's a very good way of tying the radio dynamic into an app business. So the Fireplayer, the remixing technology is built on top of the core platform which we're kind of building out just now. The idea of the platform is to allow both ourselves, and we're actually developing stuff on our own platform, but also in due course others to come in and build simple consumer-facing propositions over a platform that takes care of a lot of the audio, but also the sharing and analytics. So if you look at the 5 layers of the platform, you've got the core audio layer, which is basically, in this case, multi-channel record and replay. You've got the effects layer, which has just very simple gesture-based effects. And it's taking some obviously quite complex maths and just making it very, very simple to embellish in lots of different ways. You've got a delivery layer, so we've built in streaming and regular downloading. A social layer, so you've got the idea of sharing content entities, and again having those stored server-side so that it can actually stream out very easily. And then on top of it, if you're a brand or a media partner, you really want to understand who's using this, for how long they're using it, where they're using it, how often they're sharing it, and so on as well. So we built in some analytics on top of that as well. So it kind of happened slightly by accident. Initially we built the remixer, and what we're trying to do is now take a step back from that, isolate some of the core components, because we realise a lot of it is usable in a lot of different scenarios. So we are building both the platform, but it's actually been spun out of initially the first application. What we're doing is we're creating a series of apps and now on top of the platform. So if you think of the platform as underlying everything, the Fireplayer remixing technology is the first one, so we're doing that with a number of brands, different radio groups. So we're working with radio groups in the UK, we've just signed a radio group in Australia. So that is something we're looking at expanding a lot. So right now a lot of it is around licensed music. One of the things we're looking at doing is actually opening up, so we're going to allow unsigned artists to upload their own multi-tracks, to allow people to do more with unsigned music rather than just listen to it. So we think there's a good opportunity for sharing and discovery through actually interactive music rather than just people posting up on SoundCloud and trying to drive traffic to people listening to it. Centre Stage is another of the applications. I'm going to go through that in a bit more detail. This is something that's in the labs at the moment, that we're working on some content licensing. Again, that's around multi-track audio, which is seems to be our sort of focus. And then with stuff in the labs, we're working on a lot of other prototypes just now. We use Pure Data Max MSP as a way of prototyping concepts. And what we're trying to do is to cut down the whole delivery cycle. So when we create something, if we're looking for content for it, then we can take it very quickly to our record label and publisher partners, so we can actually help them visualize what it is quickly, and then we can work out whether we're going to be able to license content or we're going to be able to license it on the right sort of terms to actually build a consumer business around it. So those platforms help us really reduce the overall kind of delivery times. So if you look at the Fireplayer remixing platform as it is just now, the whole idea is to make it very accessible to create around licensed content. So what you have there is 2 banks of samples. You've got combinations of loops and punches and 2 banks. So it could be a verse and a chorus, or however the music's actually constructed. So all we're doing is we're taking the stems, we are chopping them up to make it very simple, almost like a gameplay type experience where you're creating. You have enough rope to hang yourself, you need to practice a little bit to sound good, but the whole idea is you can be empowered as a content creator, start sounding good kind of immediately. The streaming side is very important. We figured there was no point in just allowing you to create something locally on a device. It might be fun whilst you're on the tube, but in today's world everyone wants to share everything with everyone else. So the way the social dynamic works behind it is we save all the event data off into the application. The event data is uploaded to the server, and then the server recreates a stream on the fly. So we had to do that to work within all of the rights holder restrictions, but once we got everyone comfortable with that model, everyone's pretty happy with it. So brands and media partners, the media partner stuff you've seen through radio. Brands, the type of way that's visualized is, for example, we've just created a version of the Fireplayer app to run at festivals in 15 different countries this summer. So the whole idea is an engagement tool for the brand. You're able to get creating around content, in this case content that the brand has actually created specifically for this festival season, creating, sharing, streaming and trying to just prove interaction with the brand. And then from a revenue point of view, if you look at applications like KISS, or we've done another one with Absolute Radio in the UK, the whole idea is it's a standard freemium business model, so there'll be some content given away, and we think actually it's a great way of helping to break unsigned artists in terms of actually giving away unsigned content as freemium. Potentially we can use the radio channel to get that into a lot of hands. But everything else is purchased within a store. So there's lots of rights holders to pay out of every in-app purchase. You've got the record labels, you've got the music publishers, you've got collection societies, you've got media partners and so on. But at a premium price point, if people really want to do this, then the economics just about stack up. The other thing that's really important to us is this idea of being evergreen. So there's no point for us creating an application that's just going to, with lots of PR, it might go to the top of the charts, and then a few weeks later you're completely forgotten about. So having ways of driving people back into the application is really important to us. And obviously, as new music is being constantly released, it's a great way of driving people back to the app to, over time, expand their sort of libraries of content. It's worth saying is actually we were the first in-app purchases to be chart eligible in the UK as well. So that, from a record label point of view, it makes it much easier to access content at a very early stage in the release cycle. So the day it goes, the day it goes to iTunes, the idea is that is the day that we actually release content into the applications. And anyone who's buying both the MP3 and the remixable version of the download is double counting towards chart positions. So if you look at Centre Stage, which is something that's close to coming out of the labs just now, again, we seem to have built up a lot of expertise around multi-channel recording within the record labels and so on, the people we've worked with, both in the current catalogue but also the back catalogue. We know, if available, where those multi-tracks are as much as anyone else. So the idea of this is creating a technology, whether it's branded with an artist or a radio station or a brand, it doesn't really matter. Just think of it as a technology that allows you to actually use these multi-tracks as a way of playing along with original recordings. So in one instance, we're looking at a guitar-based app where you plug a guitar directly into an iPad or an iPhone, touch out, say, the lead guitar stem of the original recording of the track you're wanting to play, and then we'd be matching the audio effect in real time. So you don't need a bunch of outboard equipment with it, you just need to buy the track for $2.99 or $3.99 or whatever it's going to cost you. You'll have the guitar tab, you'll have the audio effect matched in real time, and you'll have the ability to play along with original recordings, as well as save yourself, save the recording and be able to post that up in a closed community. So it's almost like a sort of Guitar Hero for real. There are a few other things around doing similar sorts of things. What we need to make sure we get right with this is the user interface, just super consumer friendly, not too techy. So we're aiming for the big fat bit at the bottom of the pyramid. So that can be used in a kind of rock scenario, but we also think it's got orchestral scenarios and choral scenarios as well. So as long as we're able to either find or commission recordings of multi-track, whether it be school orchestra pieces or choral pieces, then we think there's a good. It's both interesting from a music education point of view and be interesting from a revenue point of view to actually drive people to using these. So the things we care about as a team and as a business, interactivity is absolutely key to us. So that's the sort of founding principle. We don't want to be doing things around that are sort of lean back music, social experiences. It's about creating music. So whether it's licensed, unlicensed content, it has to be interactive for us to be interested around it. Accessibility is a key thing, so a lot of that is an interface, and in terms of the target market for us, it's very much the kids on the bus or man on the street type of audience. It's not actually a super tech audience. What we're trying to do is to take some of those principles and then just make them really accessible to a much wider range of people. Evergreen, and again, we've been doing this for about 2 years, so we've learned some lessons here. In terms of the overall sorts of propositions, it's really important for app developers to create propositions that have compelling reasons to come back into the application and use them. If you look at the long usage tail of a lot of apps, if anyone's transparent enough to actually share with you, it's very easy to get forgotten about very quickly. So what we're trying to do is to create propositions that have lots of reasons to keep coming back in. Now, there's no better way than music to do this. Music is being released every day, every minute of the year, basically. So as long as we're able to provide a new set of content that's interesting for people to download and create around, then we're doing that. And then the last one, also interestingly titled number 3, it's not a third equal, is consistency. So again, in terms of a lot of app developers around promotion, you think you put some money into PR right at the start, you might get a bit of a spike, but then it completely tails off. So by working in particular with radio partners, it helps us ensure consistency of promotion over time. So rather than just a big PR splurge at the start, our radio deals basically involve consistent promotion over a period of time. So it's a horrible buzzword, but like a transmedia offering. You're using an app, but you're hearing about content available for the app through a different media platform. So we don't see very many people doing stuff with radio just now. We think it's a great growth area. So the last thing I wanted to say is we as a business are growing. We've just signed into an accelerator program in San Francisco. We're looking at establishing an office there in the next few months. So we're looking to hire both iOS and Android developers. And again, what we're trying to do is to get people who are super into music, but also super into technology. So it's that vortex of the two, which is why here is a great place for us to come along and tell you all what we're doing. Also, in terms of like the music side of it, the platforms and programs that are important to us in terms of how we're creating things are definitely Pure Data and Max MSP. So what we're doing is we're taking some technology that's been around for a long time, and we're actually remodeling a lot of that using Pure Data and Max MSP as the core technologies behind it, as well as the social and the server and the streaming side. So if you like the sound of what we're doing, then either please come and grab me, or because I have to head off quite soon, just please send me an email. That's it for me.
Thanks, Matthew. Thanks.